Listener discretion is advised. This episode features the true account of a serial killer. For those of you who may be triggered by disturbing topics, please skip this episode. In a city carved from ancient stone and powered by steady Midwestern hustle, the water never stops moving. And neither does Sioux Falls. But some currents run dark. Today, we'll trace the rise of a city built on momentum and the terror that once stalked its routines. I'm your host, Dan David. Welcome to City of Nightmares. Sioux Falls sits on the Big Sioux River, where sheets of pink Sioux quartzite step down in ledges. Rock so old and hard it reads like time itself. Geologists date the Sioux quartzite to roughly 1.6 to 1.7 billion years, and you see it everywhere here. In buildings, in park walls, in the falls themselves. A century and a half ago, those falls promised power. The grandest gamble was the Queen Bee Mill, opened in 1881 on the East Bank. The dream didn't last. Water and markets faltered, and after decades of repurposing, fire took the structure on January 30th, 1956. The stone skeleton you see in Falls Park today is its remnant, a monument to early boom and bust ambition. Across the river, a 1908 hydroelectric plant kept the city lit. It's now the Falls Overlook Cafe, where you can sip a smoothie under black and white photos of turbines that once spun on the Big Sioux. The city notes the building housed 3 500-kilowatt generators and later added steam power. It was abandoned in 1974, donated to Sioux Falls in 1977, and restored into the cafe you can visit today. Downtown's cultural anchor is the Washington Pavilion, an art museum, science center, and concert hall tucked inside the old Quartzsite High School. The transformation was contentious at the time. Voters approved the bonds by just 743 votes in 1993, and the pavilion opened in 1999. Walk a few blocks, and you're in one of the country's densest public art corridors. This area, named Sculpture Walk, swaps in dozens of new pieces each year, turning city sidewalks into a rotating gallery. Locals will tell you it's the largest annual exhibit of public sculptures in the world. Stand at the overlook as evening drops and the falls go from rose quartz to iron gray. The observation tower blinks. The Arc of Dreams arcs over the Riverwalk. A busker tunes up near a row of downtown sculptures. It feels safe. It feels busy. But a city built on momentum has learned the hard truth that progress can happen alongside darkness. In the mid-1990s, 2 women vanished or were taken near Sioux Falls, and a monster locals would come to know as the Duct Tape Killer turned a working city's routines into a map of fear. On August 27, 1994, 29-year-old Larisa Dumansky finished her overnight shift at the John Morrell and Company plant in Sioux Falls and vanished. Her husband Bill found her car at the plant. Tires deflated, keys hanging in the door. With no body and no scene, suspicion swirled, then stalled. The case went cold. On July 29, 1996, 28-year-old Piper Streyle was abducted from her rural McCook County home in front of her 2 small children. Inside the trailer, investigators found signs of a struggle. Outside, a spent 9mm casing lay in the driveway. Witnesses kept describing a dull black Bronco. Receipts showed Robert Leroy Anderson bought duct tape the morning of the abduction and black tempera paint days earlier. Forensic tests later matched the flat black coating on Anderson's blue Bronco to that same paint. Fall searches along the Big Sioux recovered a clump of duct tape matted with hair and halves of Piper's Code Zero shirt. A jury convicted Anderson of kidnapping Piper in May 1997. That conviction cracked open Larisa's case. In May 1997, Anderson's friend Glenn Walker led authorities to a shallow grave near Lake Vermilion in McCook County. Bone fragments and shell casings were recovered, and DNA tied the remains to Dumansky. Walker would later be imprisoned for his role and released in 2015 under pre-1996 rules. Inside prison that summer, an inmate named Jeremy Brunner contacted the Attorney General's office. He said Anderson had described both killings in detail and even sketched where trophies were hidden in his mother's house. A follow-up search found items prosecutors would later present at trial, including a necklace linked to Dumansky, Piper's wedding ring, handcuffs, and a 9mm pistol. Through it all, the children at the center of the Streyle case grew up. Decades later, Piper's daughter Shayna remembered the immediate aftermath.
From the moment my mom was taken, my little brain couldn't handle it. You sort of just go into denial.
Jury selection for Anderson's capital trial began in January 1999. On April 6th, the jury found him guilty of kidnapping and murdering Larisa Dumansky and raping and murdering Piper Streyle. The court formally sentenced him on May 4th. He never made it to execution. Just after 2 a.m. on March 30th, 2003, Anderson was found hanging in a disciplinary cell at the South Dakota State Penitentiary. He was pronounced dead at a Sioux Falls hospital shortly after. Later that year, the South Dakota Supreme Court dismissed his pending appeal and declined to vacate his convictions, stating that suicide does not erase a jury's verdict. The record stands. The river keeps moving. But the tragedy that befell Larisa Dumansky and Piper Streyle will never be forgotten. Thank you for listening to City of Nightmares. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show for more. New episodes drop Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Next time, we travel to Iowa City, where an 8-foot bronze monument broods over gravestones and sparks tales of death, curse, and restless wings, the mysterious Black Angel. Until then, I'm your host, Dan David, reminding you all to stay safe out there. I'll be seeing you in the next episode.
Nope.